This is Cary, North Carolina, as we welcome you to Salem Stadium, which tonight stages the Women's ICC Final, the second ever edition, and it has a familiar look about it. Lyon taking on the North Carolina Courage of the NWSL. It is a repeat of the first ever ICC Final 12 months ago in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. And it was the Courage who prevailed thanks to Heather O'Reilly's 10th minute goal. They had to batten down the hatches and withstand intense Lyon pressure to win the Shield. Be looking to do it again tonight on home soil as we welcome you to the commentary booth alongside former national teamer Laurie Lindsay. I'm Adrian Healy. We've become accustomed to seeing the national team face off against top-level international opponents. It's a lot rarer, isn't it, at club level for US teams. That's just what the North Carolina Courage have tonight, though, Laurie.
Yeah, and this isn't just any other opponent. This is arguably the most dominant European football team ever. Only 2 losses in the last 9 seasons. And you said it, unless you play international football, you rarely or ever get to showcase your talents against American or a European side, and that's what makes this tournament so special.
North Carolina on home soil tonight, looking to make it 2 in a row. Lyon, though, licking their lips in anticipation of possible revenge. Should be a good one. We'll have the team news next.
Remember when your house had this thingy? Now it has that. But with Spectrum, smart homes aren't stopping there, because they'll have all this amazing... Yeah, okay. Soon our homes will have this and that. You get the idea. That's why Spectrum's secure, fiber-powered network is ready with the privacy you demand and the bandwidth you need, no matter how smart our homes may become.
I too am hungry.
But some things will never change. Spectrum. Think forward.
Everyone to the Women's ICC Final in 2019. Lyon and the North Carolina Courage. Remember, though, this was a 4-team tournament. Both Lyon and North Carolina had to battle through Thursday night semi-finals, and it was a battle, Laurie, for both of them. They both got there by the skin of their teeth. First of all, Lyon taking care of Atletico Madrid with Wendy Renard doing what she so often does.
Oh, we've seen her do this time and time again, just with her aerial presence, finding the back of the net directly off of a corner kick.
And as you might expect, after that late winner, no changes, but World Cup stars sprinkled everywhere in this Lyon lineup.
And this game's going to be all about the midfield battle, so keep your eye on number 10, Marijan, and number 6, Henri. Can they link play and force North Carolina to chase?
Well, for North Carolina, it went even more down to the wire. They were trailing Manchester City by a goal to 0 until the weather delay, and then it all changed in that final quarter of an hour, Laurie.
And this is typical North Carolina style. Couldn't find the back of the net early on, find themselves trailing, but 2 quick goals in that last 15 minutes of play. Phenomenal ending by Jess McDonald there at the end.
McDonald was the hero, was she, coming off and slotting home the winner off the bench. 3 changes for Paul Riley tonight from that team. In goal, Stephanie LeMay comes back. Abby Dahlkemper gets her first appearance at home since the World Cup, and Denise O'Sullivan returns.
And sticking with that midfield battle, keep an eye on number 10, Dabinia, number 19, Crystal Dunn. Can they pull Henri out of that shape and allow for gaps to open up into Lynn Williams and Kristen Hamilton?
It is an intriguing prospect. A clash of styles between 2 powerhouses on their respective continents. The North Carolina Courage have become the gold standard over the last couple of years in the NWSL. Gold standard doesn't even begin to describe what Lyon are in both French and European football. And it's the French side who are on the attack right out of the blocks. Ada Hegerberg will be partnering Eugene Le Sommer up front. And there's one of their new arrivals, Lyon, making a couple of signings over the summer. Both of them English players from the World Cup. Nikita Paris, who moved from Manchester City. Crystal Dunn getting her first touch.
And Adrian, I'm most excited about these first 15 minutes. I was talking to Paul Riley the other day. He spoke about how last year in this, leading up to this final, it was like, how can we stop Lyon? This year, it's about how can we beat them. So I feel like they can push the pace, especially being in the middle of the season and Lyon being in preseason.
Yeah, you get the feeling he really didn't like the talk about a clash of styles, did he? Yes, he admitted they had to hang on for dear life a year ago. And said they want to turn on the style, turn on the performance tonight, especially here in front of their home crowd.
And really, this game looks a lot different than it did last year. North Carolina not having a number of their international players available for the game. Again, hanging on for dear life after Heather O'Reilly scored that early goal. And now coming back, getting all their international players back, getting them into a groove, and feeling confident coming into this final.
There's the ball in towards Hegerberg, or Hegerberg, I should say, again, and Paris trying to pick up the pieces. With the courage, able to clear. And on the move is Dabinia. A little short of the mark, looking for Kristen Hamilton. Here's Lucy Bronze. Fresh off the World Cup with England as well. It's opened up here for Lyon. Madry on the far side. And Bronze has stayed forward, trying to pick out the shot. Vidal Kemper was well placed with the block, and already some end-to-end play here. The offside flag is going to prevent that counter-attack truly unfolding, as Kristen Hamilton was just a step ahead.
And already this game has a lot of intensity to it, back and forth. Lucy Bronze making a run, and then quickly at the other end, Dabinia picking up the ball. But that's exactly what we're going to see. I mean, it's cooler tonight than it was on Thursday at the semifinal matches. Both of these teams wanting to get after it, wanting to show their style play.
Lyon unchanged, as we said, from that semi-final win over Atletico Madrid. You saw in your picture there, though, the one big change they've made in the summer. Jean-Luc Vasseur, the new coach at the helm. 50-year-old who took over from Reynald Pedros. Madry trying to find Hegerberg. We were denied the pleasure of seeing Hegerberg this summer. Long-running dispute with her National Federation Norway rumbling on. Her goal-scoring record on this sort of stage is absolutely second to none. Lyon, let's remember, coming to the end of their pre-season, like all European teams, both women and men. They play winter seasons. Their domestic campaign actually kicks off this weekend. That's their final pre-season warm-up for that opening of their campaign against Marseille.
We'll see how that affects this game tonight in terms of them getting their players back. Only been in preseason for the last month, getting a little bit of break after that World Cup, and not having as played in legs as this North Carolina team does.
You wonder, as Heather O'Reilly said yesterday, meeting the media, whether Lyon had been thinking about that game from last year, Laurie. She said they've probably been thinking about it a lot. They don't lose too much. That's a shock to the system for them a year ago in Miami. As you said before the game, they've only lost twice in 9 seasons domestically. It's North Carolina and Kristen Hamilton try and make something happen. I mean, I had to do a double take when I saw that statistic, Laurie. 2 defeats in 9 seasons.
And again, that plays back into the storyline of this game, though. I mean, NWSL is known for the competition. It's known for a bit of a run-and-gun style, competitive style, and being tested every week, every game, no matter who you're playing. And then Lyon coming in here, only 2 losses in the last 9 seasons. I mean, that's unheard of. That's pure domination. So good. This is a fantastic test for them. Can they withstand this pressure from North Carolina and be able to still be able to play their game and link through the midfield?
Well, it was noticeable, wasn't it, watching the 2 semi-finals the other night, the difference in tempo. And yes, the time of day may have had something to do with that, but the European game certainly slower, more methodical. Laurie, as you say, in the NWSL, you never have any time to sit on the ball, as exhibited perfectly there by O'Sullivan, nicking it away. Crystal Dunn trying to slip it through for Williams, who still might get there. Liv Williams battling on. And eventually it's back to Buhadi, who is able to clear.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. This is the pressure that North Carolina wants to employ here. look to see if they can step to those defensive midfielders here. Sullivan does a good job of picking out Marijan, and they're off and running, finding Crystal, finding Dabinia in between those lines. So difficult to pick up defensively. North Carolina's off and running.
That Williams and Hamilton combination that has been so productive for them up front. So you have Jessica McDonald as well to come off the bench in the striking department. And something she did to great effect in the semi-final on Thursday. And just a housekeeping note, they are allowed to make 6 substitutions in the ICC. And, we were here a little earlier watching the third place game between Atletico Madrid and Manchester City, which is really entertaining stuff. Continued the theme of this ICC with another late winner in the 90th minute. Manchester City edging Atletico 3-2 to win that third place game.
Nothing short of dramatic.
Hamilton. Clarifying Williams. You mentioned, Laurie, that those two have actually switched sides tonight. Some plan that Paul Riley has for the Courage.
Yeah, typically we see Lynn Williams out on the left-hand side where Crystal Hamilton is currently. But Paul Riley felt like the matchup with Lynn Williams, just her size against Renard, her pace against Renard, they could potentially exploit that area on the field, especially with Crystal Hamilton dropping in, seeing if she could pick balls up a little bit deeper and then look to play Lynn Williams in through that back line.
Jennifer Marijan, the German international whose World Cup was so troubled by injury. She broke her toe in Germany's opening game, didn't get to play again until the second half of the quarterfinal, what was ultimately Germany's exit from the World Cup in the hands of Sweden. She is mighty influential at the heart of this Lyon midfield. They are deadly from set pieces, as we know. Marijan fighting it in towards, guess who? Renard. Well, she may be a centre-back by name, Laurie, but you wouldn't know it looking at her goal-scoring record.
No, and this is going to be a fantastic matchup all game with Abby Ursig matching up with Renard. They feel like that. Paul Riley felt coming into this game that it would be no problem, no need to double team. Just make sure that Ursig stays tight, even pulls off of her enough so that she can at least give her an opportunity to jump with her.
It's from this side that they produced their winner in the semi-final. Different approach this time, all along the ground. It's Lucy Bronze who rekindles things. Marjorie wide to Alex Greenwood, who goes down. Actually, it was Le Sommer, wasn't it? He was upended. And this will provide a more menacing free kick this time for Lyon. Le Sommer, who's closing in on the national team scoring record for Les Bleus. But it's Marijan at the controls again. Flick behind, Abby Dahlkemper. Mentioned her first game back in North Carolina since the World Cup. Didn't play in the semi-final. Courage fans behind Stephanie Labey's goal. Picking up a racket, and the Courage defence responding. Here is Alex Greenwood. Renard getting the flick on. Marjorie unable to hold off Dabinia. North Carolina's Brazilian midfielder makes so much happen for them.
And it's still early on, Adrian, but these are the areas where North Carolina...
Harris floating it in.
These are the areas where North Carolina's going to need to be careful because we know Lyon likes to keep the ball. They like to link. They have Henri in there. They have Marijan, who will be the playmakers. They'll link the back to the forwards. At the same time, if you're easily turning the ball over, they're going to keep the ball, and you're going to find yourself chasing the rest of the game.
Mathias with the run inside. Now Williams is offside early on. That's a couple of times the Courage have been caught by the high Lyon defensive line.
This isn't a bad idea from Kristen Hamilton, just checking back into the ball, looking to find, quick turn to find Lynn Williams. A few times though now they've been cut offside. Can they keep the ball for one extra pass, see if they can spring it a little bit wide, pull Lyon out, and then start to find clip balls over the top or even service into the box.
Talk about the appetite for revenge for Lyon. How about all the French national teamers out there? It's only just over 50 days since the US beat France in that World Cup quarterfinal. We have 9 players from that quarterfinal out there tonight. Dalkemper, Dunn and Mewis for North Carolina. And we have 6 on Lyon's side of the ball.
It's a fantastic tackle by Renard.
Timed it so well, didn't she? Andy Renard, who got that late consolation. It was no more than that in the World Cup quarterfinal after Megan Rapinoe had done the damage.
Well, and to your point, you got to imagine this is much of a revenge game. So many French international players from the World Cup, but then also the loss in the final last year. So a bit of a double whammy.
And so many of those French players spoke very publicly about how their heart was set on making the semis and the final, which were both held in their home city of Lyon, of course. They couldn't get there. The US knocking them out in Paris. There's the new coach, Jean-Luc Vasseur. As a player at PSG, Rennes and Saint-Etienne back in the 90s. 10 years as a youth team coach on the women's side, though, before working his way up. And they are very much, Laurie, an organisation that prides themselves on the development of the women's game. They very much put the women's team on a level footing with their men's team. Olympique Lyonnais, of course, they train in the same places, but they're under duress here as Jermaine Hinkle gets the cross in. Cleared with a minimum of fuss. Good run forward from Jaylene Hinkle.
You're exactly right. That was a fantastic run. Little mishap by both teams, losing possession and then springing Jaylene Hinkle. And that's where they're going to find the most success, is out wide. There's so many numbers in that midfield for North Carolina.
Crystal Dunn weaving her way through. Lynn Williams has an open shot. Mathias sees her shot beaten aside by Bouhaddi. Merritt Mathias in the thick of the action. Mewis sending the cross in, but it's repelled. Good little spell for North Carolina. And it continues with Denise O'Sullivan picking it off. The Irish midfielder. Hamilton and Williams looking for that connection again. Didn't quite open up.
Well, this is a big night for Kristen Hamilton. Adrian spoke about players that are playing at the international level getting the opportunities to showcase their talent against European sides, and this is a big test for Kristen Hamilton. She's shown that she can do it in NWSL, but can she do it against some of these internationals from France national team?
Yeah. It's Denise O'Sullivan who was penalised. A bit of a sandwich there. La Sommer was in the middle. O'Sullivan, the Irish international, didn't play in the semi-final on Thursday night. She was held out of that, but she's played in all 16 the NWSL games for the Courage this year. Overlap from Madry. Amel Madry, clever work. Finding an opening, and Hegerberg trying to meet it in front of the near post.
Oh, nifty little play here by Madry, able to get past Merritt Mathias. It's a good look, but Abby Ursig has that one covered on that near post.
Another corner to be concerned about for the Courage. Marichan. They'll try and set the table here. Plenty of imposing targets. Oh, there was a header there. It was Nikita Parrish. He really didn't connect with it. It still might fall their way. Le Sommer couldn't get any power in the shot. Stephanie Labbe, the Canadian international. Former Washington Spirit player. She played in Sweden as well for 5 years. To be very patient, didn't she, Labbe, with Canada? Erin McLeod ahead of her for so many years.
And that's a story with so many goalkeepers. Just patience is the name of the game. Buying your time, making sure you're ready when you get that opportunity. And she's really capitalized on Erin McLeod picking up some injuries, not being able to participate in this World Cup, and then really making the most of her opportunity here at North Carolina as well.
Lewis picking up the pieces. Crystal Dunn surveying what's in front of her. Lynn Williams. Tough angle for her to deal with, but still got the cross in. That was a last-ditch interception by Mbok. That full stretch there.
And that play started, Adrian, by Crystal Dunn picking up the ball in between those lines. She's been active so far in this game, just floating around, finding little pockets of space, and she's doing a good job of looking for Kristen Hamilton and Lynn Williams, who are making little darting runs up top, trying to get in behind that back line of Lyon.
Skriej Mbok alongside Renard for club and country. Harris to give chase. Very coolly done between Hinkle and Labbe. The chase is on for Hamilton. Renard very much in control of the situation. Now Paris has skipped in around the back. Nikita Paris for Lyon. And the follow-up. Madry could direct her shot on target, and then the spectacular effort from Marichan, well wide.
Well, this is a good run out of the midfield from Le Sommer, and then a fabulous first touch there by Paris to set her up. Good ball across, dangerous ball across. And a little bit of acrobatics here at the end. They don't go anywhere near the goal, but again, good little build-up, good little combination play and through ball from Le Sommer. Typically a striker, but more for this Lyon team. Falls back into the midfield, helps out there defensively, and then picks up balls deep to be able to run at teams like we just saw.
Here's Dabinia. As the Courage come right back with Crystal Dunn directing traffic. Nice outlet to Matthias. And a free kick eventually conceded. Paris, who was the Player of the Year in England in 2019 for Manchester City. An interesting World Cup, didn't she? Scored against Scotland. Also missed 2 penalties over the course of the tournament. Lynn Williams finds some space, staring at Renard. Williams taking her on. Little shot from Renard. Crystal Dunn! Well, there was real industry from Lynn Williams to work that ball across. Dunn might be a little disappointed. She did at least test Buhari.
Well, Crystal Dunn starts this play. Good little clip ball over the top to Lynn Williams. Lynn Williams takes on Renard and then finds Crystal Dunn. It was going to be a difficult ball all along. Coming across her body, all she has to do is try to make good contact. Unfortunately doesn't. We'll want this one back. A little bit too much of a swing.
Now this Tuesday, ESPN2 is your home for the Leagues Cup semi-finals. First at 8:30 Eastern, Club America taking on Tigres. And then at 10:30 Eastern, it's the LA Galaxy and Cruz Azul. Both of those on Tuesday night as the Courage build again here. Dabinia. And Bok was resolute in her defence. Dabinia, who was also at the World Cup. Of course, for Brazil, lost out in that round of 16, that epic round of 16 clash against the French. Paul Riley, age of 55, Riley has been at the very top of the women's game for well over a decade. Former coach of yours, Laurie, with Philadelphia.
Yeah, back in the old league, the WPS. Yeah, you really got to give credit to Paul Riley. I mean, everywhere he's gone, he's been successful. Really implemented a fun style, attacking style of play for all his teams he's coached.
Somer back to Madry. Couldn't quite get the shot away, eventually did, but it was harmless enough for Stephanie Labey. So many interchangeable paths for Lyon, Laurie.
So much fluidity in this attack for Lyon. Somer at the start of it again. Just her ability to find those simple passes or find that final pass. But both sides right now starting to get a rhythm, starting to implement their style play, but just not enough to capitalize on in the final third.
The Courage, who won the treble last year, 2018, NWSL Shield, the NWSL Championship, and this first ever edition of the ICC. It's 2 consecutive regular season titles for the Courage. They're under pressure again. Alex Greenwood finding a way to the byline, and Harris! Well, the 2 new English signings almost combining there for Lyon. Labey with a decent save, and now Carolina hurtling forward here. They have numbers as well. Kristen Hamilton, options in the middle for her. That wasn't what she was looking for.
Well, in action here. Such a fun style of play, and this is not easy. Paris makes good contact, but that was a difficult ball back by Greenwood, but she does well with her feet to at least make good contact, and Labey's forced to come up with a big save, but then off and running by North Carolina down at the other end.
Stephanie Labey played all 4 games at the World Cup for Canada. Over 60 caps for them. He signed this February here in North Carolina. He's played in 9 NWSL games. Was there a handball there against Samantha Mewis?
Tough call. Not enough, in my opinion, though, to warrant a call.
Well, undaunted, Lyon build again. Somer to Madry. And the shot is on for Hegerberg. Abby Ertzig sticking to her very closely, as well you might, given Hegerberg's fearsome goal-scoring record.
And Adrian, it's that fluidity up top for Lyon that's so difficult to defend. We've seen Madry on the right-hand side getting balls off of Somer. We've seen her pick up balls at the top of the box and dribble herself. I mean, just the movement of those front 3, front 4, so difficult to defend.
They're at it again. Marichan combining with Paris. Lucy Bronze. Easy pickings. Labey. Crystal Dunn. And Sarah Bouhadi, well aware of the danger that was unfolding. Goalkeeper who made her national team debut at the age of 17. Years she's been at Lyon. She may be under duress again here. Hamilton breaking through. Can she get the shot away? She can. But Bouhadi was equal to the task.
Well, this is a good run by Kristen Hamilton, and that's a good first touch, but then it gets caught underneath her, and she can't get it out from under her feet, and Buhati does a good job of closing down that angle. Renard closing off the ability for her to get a good look on goal.
Kristen Hamilton, you talked about the opportunity for her tonight. She's the second top scorer in the NWSL. She has 8 on the season, some way behind Sam Kerr, the perennial Golden Boot winner in the NWSL. The Aussie who plays for the Chicago Red Stars. Harris is lurking. Abby Ertzeg, New Zealand centre-back, getting that clear.
And listening to Paul Riley talk about Kristen Hamilton was interesting in the fact that he was like, she had such a fabulous season so far, but can she continue to do that season after season?
Yeah, consistency is a quality that is so elusive. So many strikers. Shan a little over elaborate, and the Courage will happily clear their lines. Mbok, Amandine Henry. North Carolina will remember her very well. One day Henry was part of the Portland Thorns team that beat them in the 2017 NWSL Championship. Henry trying to close down Williams, and does so successfully.
And one of the questions coming into this game was in that midfield there with Henry, her sitting deep, and who's going to come back and help defensively. We are starting to see some gaps for Crystal and Dabinia in there to be able to open up this game even more. But at the same time right now, Lyon doing a good job of just solidifying position. Henry's getting in there, linking play.
Oh, it's a great through ball. Oh, and Dabinia couldn't quite elude the long stretch of Mbok again. It's 2 or 3 times already tonight. Last-ditch tackle from Mbok has saved the day.
Well, you get the feeling that North Carolina is knocking on the door. One of these opportunities potentially going to sneak through, but fantastic defensive play there for Mbok. Perfect timing on that slide. It'll separate the ball from Dabinia. Otherwise, she was off and running. Going to be 1v1 versus Buhati.
They had the angles worked out there nicely. Jaylene Hinkle picking it off. And now Mewis can go back to her goalkeeper. So glad you could be with us tonight. Adrian Healy and Laurie Lindsay with you from Cary, North Carolina. The final of the 2019 Women's ICC. And we have 2 powerhouses of the women's club game on display as Lynn Williams pierces the armour again here. Oh, she tried to tee it up for Hamilton. She knew exactly where Hamilton was running to. Unfortunately, so did Wendy Renard.
Renard and Mbok have been critical here defensively, getting a foot in, just reading the play well, keeping things out of danger. Hinkle wanting to dive on that one, not happy with that call.
And lost some air, it was, who went down. We are going to have a hydration break. It is still hot enough here to warrant one. Lots of entertaining stuff for the first half an hour here. The only surprise is the scoreboard, Laurie, which somehow remains goalless.
Yeah, if you look at North Carolina, exactly what we expected them to put pressure, look to see if they can get 1 or 2 passes and start to spring the ball forward. They can just handle the ball 1 or more passes, pick out the player on top of the box. I think they're going to find the ball, the back of the net, much easier.
While we have a moment, let's show you what happened here about 3 hours ago. That's when the game started. Manchester City and Atletico Madrid in much brighter sunshine, even hotter conditions. And it was City who led early on with the breakaway goal. We watched most of this game, Laurie. It was amazing. Game of two halves. Atletico Madrid stormed back in the second half.
Yeah, dominant performance by them up until about the 75th minute, and then started losing their way, allowed Manchester City to get back into the game. And then Manchester City would finish the game off late.
That was the goal that gave Atletico Madrid the lead from some way, almost from downtown Kerry there. But as you said, already some changes made. Remember, 6 substitutions allowed in the ICC, and City came back from being 2-1 down to turn it around. Breakaway goal, leveling it up.
Good little run there by Becky. Even better finish, but you're right, tale of two halves. Man City in the first half, Atletico Madrid in the second for the most part, and then Man City with the substitutes start to find their way back in, and 2 big goals late in the game.
Continuing the theme for the ICC, that was the 90th minute winner, so 1-0 up, 2-1 down, City coming back to win 3-2 and claim 3rd place here in the ICC, and we showed you just before kickoff just how close they pushed these 2 teams here tonight in those semi-finals. Atletico Madrid taking Lyon to the 93rd minute before Wendy Renard scoring the only goal of the game. For a long time at the second semi-final on Thursday, Laurie, it looked like Manchester City would be in this final. They were 1-0 up and North Carolina were unable to find a way through, and then lightning struck. Not quite literally, but there was a weather delay, 70 minutes, and North Carolina used it to their advantage, didn't they?
Yeah, and they absolutely did, able to regroup in the locker room. They were pounding on the door, just missed opportunities, and that's been their nemesis all season, really, is creating so many opportunities but not being able to finish them. But then in the end, they put so much pressure on these teams, and you almost felt like Man City had a difficult time closing out the game. Almost should have gone to a 5-back just to close things out, but instead allowed North Carolina to stay in the game. And then Jess McDonald, we've seen her do that before as well, just late heroics by her.
Amazing celebrations that followed that as well. She ran to the sidelines. Preceding that, she mentioned Mackenzie Meehan got her first ever professional goal for North Carolina, the one that tied it up in the 84th minute. So we're all rehydrated and ready to go again. Wendy Renard managed to score 4 goals and an own goal for France in the World Cup this summer from centre-back. Gets us restarted. Lyon, as we said, just working towards the start of their domestic season. They've won 13 consecutive league titles in France. Hinkle doesn't care about that. She's swinging in the cross. Done. And now Dabinia's defender down for Lyon. It's Bok, but they're playing on, and Crystal Dunn hooking it towards goal. Just wide of the mark.
Well, this is good patience by North Carolina, switching the point of attack a few different times. And then Sam Ewis picking this ball up at the top of the box and trying to clip this little ball into Crystal Dunn. But at the same time, that patience, being able to switch the point of attack, allows Jaylene Hinkle to get forward, plays that fabulous ball across. So dangerous. Gotta expect that's what this water break Paul Riley was talking about. Be a little bit more patient. They can swing the ball around and then look to exploit them on the width.
Dunn with another really sharp turn. Williams lurking. And Wendy Renard taking control. She's been busy, so too has Mbok. The Courage forwards have given them plenty to think about. Denise O'Sullivan will come across and take this. Didn't see her recently when Ireland played the United States in the Victory Tour. Denise O'Sullivan not part of that Irish squad. She normally would be, but Courage had an NWSL game that night. And took precedence. What can they cook up from the corner? something in mind. A short corner, better angle of delivery. Renard. Marashan turning into traffic, but there's all sorts of space here on the far side for Lyon to try and exploit. Paris with the layoff. That's great work from Hinkle. Really superb defending from Jaylene Hinkle, with Hegerberg about to turn. Hinkle just wouldn't allow it to happen.
And well done, as you mentioned, by Jaylene Hinkle individually, but well done by North Carolina, noticing that Lisa Mayer could potentially get on a break there, wide open on the left-hand side. Do a good job of getting many numbers behind the ball, just slowing up play, allowing for Jaylene Hinkle to get back and make that defensive play.
Talking of filling up, really good crowd on hand tonight at Salem Stadium. They average just over 5,000 here in the NWSL. We're told to expect over 7,500 tonight for this ICC final. Many were here for the first game as well, as Paris spins away this time from Hinkle. What a duel that's proving to be. Here's Lucy Bronze hurdling a challenge, heading for the byline. And it was safety first from Abby Dahlkemper. Another sweeping move for Lyon down their right-hand side, Laurie.
Well, Lucy Bronze has been less of a defender, more of a striker in this game, doing a good job of creating numbers up situation, getting herself into that inline. Abby Dahlkemper all over that one, though, keeping it out of danger.
Yeah, she won the silver ball, didn't she, Lucy Bronze, in France, as that corner is dispatched, and Hamilton is on to it. Williams is fast, but she's not going to reach that. Buhari is the safety valve. Now, MLS on ESPN resumes on Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern, Sporting Kansas City, hosting Minnesota United from Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City. Start of a big, long weekend of games and rivalry week for us. Thursday, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. Here in the ICC, the women's edition, the second ever ICC. Lots of talk about possible expansion in this tournament in the years moving forward. There's only 4 teams last year, 4 this year. They're talking about maybe 8 next year, looking at both West and East Coast.
If you could add in 4 more teams and do a West Coast, East Coast, that would be fabulous. Just the level of competition it's needed in terms of the women's game.
Yeah, we talked about it in the Open, almost a unique situation, certainly for the US teams. That's a lovely slipped-in pass, but great work from Labbe. She had to be sharp coming off her line with Patry Fretnick.
And again, it's Lisa Mayer coming through that midfield. This is an area that North Carolina is going to need to be careful with. She's finding a ton of room. Another fantastic slip ball through, but Labbe has that covered, well timed.
Battling work from Mewis, and not a bad pass either. Dunn trying to pick up the pieces. Well, the courage is certainly matching fire with fire here, relishing this opportunity to, as Paul Riley said, really take the game to Lyon, play it on their terms. Lyon not only have won 13 consecutive League One titles in France, they've also won 4 consecutive Champions Leagues. The most recent of which was a comprehensive beating of Barcelona as Renard has it stolen away. Well, they've made life tough, haven't they, for the Lyon defenders, pressing high.
And that's exactly what they want. And this is the matchup that we referenced early on in this first half, Adrian, just about Lynn Williams being able to push the pace there on those center backs for Lyon. And we saw just that there, just a little miscommunication on what that ball was going to look like from Lynn Williams. Kristen Hamilton's pulling out wide, across the box instead of a little darting run. She could have got there before Buhati.
This time a little off kilter from Dabinia. Paul Riley is all in favour of the expansion of this tournament. Said, hey, why stop at 8? Why not go to 16 or even 32 in the years down the line? It's all part of just what has been such a feel-good factor in the women's game, Laurie, over the last 12 months. And what can be done to just keep it going and build upon it? We've already seen the knock-on effects here in the NWSL.
I mean, if you look at the crowd here on hand tonight, just the visibility of that World Cup and the quality of play really set the precedence on how exciting these games are. And earlier today it was Reign FC versus Sky Blue playing at Red Bull Arena, 9,500 fans in attendance.
Yep.
I mean, just absolutely amazing with the support. But again, it's a fabulous product. Just in terms of keeping that visibility going, making sure fans are aware.
Another thrilling conclusion to the NWSL season is in prospect. We'll talk about that a little bit at half-time. North Carolina, they've been the powerhouse over the last couple of years. I think you touched upon this, Laurie. It hasn't been quite as easy for them this time around in 2019, like many sides. The domestic season was somewhat disrupted by the World Cup. They haven't been quite the same force to the same degree. They're still sitting pretty in third place and not far off the pace, but they only lost 1 game last year. They've already lost 4 this year.
Well, last season in 2018, I mean, just pure domination from North Carolina, just firing on all cylinders. And something that Paul Riley said is it just feels like they haven't caught fire. Been kind of plodding along this season, and obviously the international break, players in and out, all teams affected by that as well. But North Carolina in particular, just with the type of players that they have and their style of play, a run and gun style.
Madry as Lyon build again, still seeking the lead. Madry, the curler, back down off the bar. Hegerberg going down, but she was offside in trying to feast upon the rebound, but the bar is still shaking. Madry's initial effort.
Well, this is a fantastic effort by Madry. Just finds herself wide open on top of the box. Leigh Samara again, the one that plays that one, perfectly weighted into her path and makes fantastic contact with that one.
It's as close as we've come to a breakthrough in this first half. She's inching into stoppage time. There's going to be 3 minutes of stoppage time. Lovely flick from Marichan. Lay off from Paris, who wants it back. Didn't quite reach her. Sommer, you've mentioned Laurie's almost in a playmaking role, isn't she? She's really making things happen. On the ball now.
She's been fabulous so far this first half. I mean, we've seen her for France be able to play a more true number 9 position where she's making runs, she's darting, but more tonight, coming back, playmaking, played some brilliant through balls.
Stoppage behind play. Danielle Chesky is the match official. Dabinia to Hinkle. He's had an energetic first half. So too has Crystal Dunn, who wheels around with real purpose again. And Dabinia would love to have that back. She had 2 or 3 glorious chances to score against Manchester City in the semi-final. Laurie couldn't take them.
And in tonight's game, it's Dabinia, Crystal Dunn are still doing a good job of floating in there, finding some good spaces. Just that final product for the entire North Carolina team that's letting them down, whether it's the cross or it's just a little darted ball back. Keeping your shots on frame.
It's Amandine Henry who's down, a former Portland Thorn. Back her second spell with Lyon. She played with them for close to a decade before leaving for the Pacific Northwest and testing some different waters. She was a big hit with Portland too, wasn't she?
Absolutely. And we've seen just how quality she is on the ball. Oh, looks like she gets stepped on there. Quality on the ball, links play, a simple player. You wouldn't notice her if she's not flashy, but so integral, so important to a midfield.
Yeah, and not a regular goal scorer, but boy, did she come up with a big one in the World Cup for France. She scored in extra time to beat Dabinia and Brazil. And set up that quarter-final with the United States. Well, that's 3 minutes of stoppage time. Laurie, brief thoughts on what we've seen in the first half here?
Well, to be expected by North Carolina, pushing the pace, looking to see if they can capitalize on the counterattack. Just that final pass, that final attempt on goal, letting them down. And then if you're Lyon, doing a good job of working your way up, keeping the ball. Just both teams in that final third, can they find a little bit more precision, be a little bit more clinical?
What could be the final effort of the first half from Mewis? Oh, Samantha Mewis from long range had Bouhaddi scrambling. She felt Bouhaddi got a touch. The referee felt otherwise.
Well, we've seen Sam Mewis do this before. It's a good little first touch to set herself up, and then a rocket of a shot that's dipping. Bouhaddi has that covered.
Yeah, and I think Mewis was right. Bouhaddi did get a fingertip.
Absolutely should have been a corner kick.
Probably wasn't quite going in, but Bouhaddi had to scramble across to a decent save in the end. Now then, Hegerberg, as the first half rages on, and Hegerberg crowded out. And that is the final action of what has been a thoroughly entertaining first half here. No goals to report, but plenty of entertainment. We'll step away and then talk a little NWSL when we come back. Edition featuring the same 2 headliners that we saw a year ago in Miami. A game that is unfolding in a very different manner, though, from what we saw 12 months ago. 0-0 after 45 minutes, and you can see the respective benches and lots of activity down there. As I mentioned, up to 6 substitutions can be made during the course of the second half. Lyon and North Carolina, who both had to go the distance and then some to get past their semi-final opponents. Setting up this mouth-watering final. Adrian Healy and Laurie Lindsay alongside. You highlighted her in the first half, Laurie. Kristen Hamilton. All that was missing was the finishing touch between Hamilton and Williams.
Yeah, Hamilton was quality. She's making good runs, forcing Lyon's defense to make critical defensive plays. And at the same time, again, it was just the final touch or that final cross or the final attempt on goal that just let them down. This is a good test. It's what we talked about in that first half, Adrian, about Kristen Hamilton. Can she rise to this occasion? And that was really what Paul Riley wanted to see from her. And again, we mentioned it about how she's been good in the NWSL and dominant in many ways, but can she take her game to another level, be even more consistent game in and game out? but then also play against some of these top international players to see if she can even push to get a spot on the U.S. national team.
Talking of finishers, there's going to be a switch for Lyon. There's going to be Shanice van der Sanden who's going to come on. Nikita Paris is going to make way. So it's the English international making way for the Dutch speedster. She is pacey for sure. Van der Sanden will give Hinkle plenty to think about down that side of the field.
And I thought Paris was good. She linked up well. Lucy Bronze creating some little combination plays, overlaps, and then also linking up with Lisa Mayer on some of those through balls. But Van der Sanden also, as you mentioned, pacey, ability to get in behind, cause trouble for back line, and see if she can also supply some service to Hegerberg. That was missing in the first half. Hegerberg is best when she's in and floating in and around that 6-yard box and gets on the end of service, and there wasn't much of that in that first half, so let's see if Van der Sanden and her speed can allow for that.
All set for action. The Courage coming out to start the second half as they started the first. It's pretty much their strongest 11. And they have the likes of Heather O'Reilly on the bench, Jessica McDonald, McCall Zaboni, and one of the heroes of the other night, Mackenzie Meehan, as well, to call upon.
And I talked about that with Heather O'Reilly yesterday, about what it's like. There's so many players that you just mentioned that are on the bench for this North Carolina team, and how Paul Riley's had to handle that in terms of making decisions, and really what it's allowed this team to do in terms of being able to stay on top of the standings for the NWSL.
It's Henri who's launched the first attack, and Van der Sanden with an immediate sighter of goal. Abby Ertzig pulling the curtain down, and, announcing her intentions immediately. Courage were good in the first half defending the set-piece threat that is an omnipresent one where Lyon are concerned. Can they continue that into this second half? Marichan delivering all the way through. Madry, who came closer than anyone to breaking the deadlock in the first half with that shot off the bar.
And in that first half, a bit unusual with the service as well. A lot of them low-driven balls, and just another one there as well. It doesn't even look like they're aiming for Bernard's head. Good attempt there by Marjorie. Tough ball to make contact on.
The World Cup starter at left back, wouldn't she? But plays further forward for her club team. She with the new signing, Alex Greenwood, just behind her. Bok back to Buhari. There is Greenwood. Look, a surprise signing quite recently from Manchester United. It was confirmed a couple of weeks ago. Greenwood trying to shield that, couldn't manage it. Kristen Hamilton almost making things happen. Well, that's been the key word for Hamilton so far, almost.
And this is what separated her this year, and just her willingness to continue the play, never giving up, even when it looks like it's dead.
The NWSL Player of the Month for July is Kristen Hamilton. Abby Ertzig, who's lost her shoe momentarily. She's played in 4 World Cups now for New Zealand. She tried to retire, didn't she? Not once but twice, and they wouldn't let her. They kept on calling her back. Still only 29. I remember her as a 17-year-old in the 2007 World Cup.
Credit to her, though. She's really had a resurgence to her career when she came here to North Carolina. Played for the Chicago Red Stars. Pretty quiet when she played with the Red Stars. Got herself even more fit. able to add some years to her career and keep herself going. And this move to North Carolina has been extremely beneficial, just an integral part to that this defense here.
And she was also part of the Western New York Flash team who moved here to North Carolina after the 2016 campaign, having won a title there. Paul Riley was in charge of that team too. Dink over the top has Hamilton on the move. But not for long. Paul Riley just having a word with the assistant on the near sides. Third time tonight the Courage have been caught offside, and all of them by a very high Lyon line. Buhari to Greenwood. Greenwood, who helped Manchester United actually get promotion to the top flight of the English Premier League. Now, good angle ball for Williams, and Buhari had to hurry. Crystal Dunn with an open net. Had just too much on it. Had to take it instinctively. First time she knew Buhari was stranded, Crystal Dunn.
And this time it's Mewis. Find some room in that midfield. Good opportunity, a good look to try to find Lynn Williams, but Buhari off her line, perfectly timed. Crystal Dunn, just a little too much weight on that. But all of that play started from Denise Sullivan, and much like Henri on the other side for Lyon, she's been the link in this midfield. Very quiet, she goes unnoticed, but she's the one that's been starting these plays, getting the ball off the back line, just playing simple, getting herself in good defensive positions as well.
She's such a firebrand, isn't she, Denise Sullivan? It seems hard to think that she was actually unwanted and dropped by the Houston Dash a year and a half ago.
It is extremely hard to believe, especially when Paul Riley told us the other day that she's the best player on their team. She's what makes them tick. Gave her a rest for the semifinal because she's been playing so many minutes. At the same time, as soon as they found themselves down, they were like, we need to put O'Sullivan in. We need to get somebody in there linking.
Yeah, he called her a workaholic, didn't he? She's pretty apt, as that's a great run from Lucy Bronze. Just running out of real estate. Jean-Luc Vasseur said they were looking to stimulate a new dynamic. The president, Jean-Michel Aulas, said when appointing Vasseur back in June. Jean-Michel Aulas has Gerard Houllier, famous ex-Liverpool man, and the Red Bull Presiario as one of his advisors. Crystal Dunn. Mewis back to Urseg. Abby Dahlkemper, who made more outfield minutes than any other player for the US at the World Cup in France. Lynn Williams on the move and will settle for the corner. Williams, who's the second top scorer in the NWSL last year, behind Sam Kerr. Has 6 goals and 5 assists to her name this year.
And not as many goals, but still so important in terms of putting pressure on the other team's back lines, forcing play, and she just makes everyone around her a better player.
Here's the corner for the Courage. Buhari started to come and had to change her mind and was able to recover. Paul Riley's side haven't had a whole bevy of set pieces to work with. Riley, who grew up in the footballing hotbed of Liverpool. Now Hamilton shrugging off Renard. Williams. Buhadi playing the sweeper role to great effect.
Well, that's phenomenal work by Buhadi coming off her line there, reading that play, because otherwise Lynn Williams was in one-on-one.
Ooh, that's Van der Sanden all of a sudden popping up. Opportunity presenting itself. They've stolen it away again of Lyon. Hegerberg was the target. They haven't really been able to get out of Hegerberg that thoroughly involved in all the things they've done up front tonight, Lyon, yet.
No, and credit to Dahlkemper and Ursig there in that midfield, keeping her occupied, having good communication, making sure she doesn't get on the ball.
Hegerberg, who scored a hat-trick in the Champions League final as they're demolishing of Barcelona 4-1. That's their fourth consecutive UEFA Champions League title. They will start their defence of that trophy in September. Now Hamilton is through this time. Can Williams get there? She can't. And it is so near and yet so far for those two. Hamilton and Williams breaking through again.
Dabinia finds herself in a good spot, able to turn with loads of space in front of her. Good time run by Kristen Hamilton. I feel like she should have gone on the outside of the other side. Instead, looks like she was caught in between.
Matthias with another strong challenge. Merit Matthias was one of those who missed this final last year. It was when she was called up for the US in the Tournament of Nations. Didn't actually get to play in that tournament. Dabinia. No nonsense from Henri.
Well done by Lyon. Get out of that pressure and then find Lucy Bronze.
Bronze. And the shot is on from Marichan! And she has curled it in quite deliciously. What a finish from Jennifer Marichan. A goal fit for any final.
Well, what a finish is correct, Adrienne. They're able to break pressure here on this near side, find loads of space from Lucy Bronze on the far side. And then Marjan does a fantastic job just to float in, holds her run right here, and then what a quality inside the foot finish that is. Just bends this one. That is just a beautiful finish. Again, a perfectly timed run, but again, it's being able to break that pressure by North Carolina. And then once you do, you have loads of space, and Lucy Bronze making good runs up and down that right-hand side.
Jennifer Marichan, some personal torment this summer with a broken toe and Germany's early exit. Now then, the crowd responding to the introduction of Jessica McDonald. She's replaced Kristen Hamilton. McDonald will be looking to replicate what she did off the bench here on Thursday night, which was to help turn the game around. She comes on in a familiar position with a team now trailing by a goal. Done. Back to Dabinia. Van der Sanden coming the other way. Hegerberg just looked a little off the pace. Again, you have to credit Dahlkemper and Herzog for that. Great clearance to McDonald, who tried to slice it through for Lynn Williams.
And this is where Lyon needs to be careful. Up one goal. This game's starting to get stretched. You bring on Jess McDonald. She has this pace to be able to get in behind your defense. make sure you stay compact. Don't give too much away in that midfield, allowing North Carolina to spring you on the counter.
Le Sommer, meanwhile, just overrunning it. Now Mewis. McDonald, who has been the top American scorer in the NWSL over the last couple of seasons. Paul Riley was telling you, wasn't he, that he struggled a little bit to replicate that form this year, understandably perhaps, with getting a place in the US team in France.
Well, it's never easy when you come back from a World Cup, whether you played many minutes, whether you sat on the bench, because it's about readjusting to the team. If you played a ton of minutes, there is a true thing about World Cup hangover. You have heavy legs, it's difficult to get back into the mix, and at the same time, if you didn't play many minutes, you're out of rhythm.
Van der Sanden has plenty in the tank. Needed all of Abby Ertzig's prowess there to keep her at bay.
And Van der Sanden has been phenomenal since she's been on, showing that pace that we've talked about on that right-hand side. This time on the left-hand side, forcing Ertzig to come up big with that sliding defensive play. But as this game gets stretched, they could utilize Van der Sanden's pace to get in behind North Carolina.
They've worked this corner short. Greenwood swinging that in from the left. There'll be another change momentarily for Lyon. It's going to be the Japanese captain, Saki Kumagai, who's going to come on. And Le Sommer is going to make way. Lots of great vision and footwork from Le Sommer, particularly in the first half. And almost a deep-lying playmaking role, but...
Yeah, terrific game by Le Sommer, and now you can start to see that they're going for a little bit more of a defensive mindset now. Kumagai, I imagine, is going to sit in next to Henri there as the two number sixes, sure things up in the midfield.
Saki Kumagai, who's been at Lyon since 2013. Well, she's most known for scoring the winning penalty. Sorry to remind you, Laurie, in the World Cup final shootout.
I was hoping that wasn't going to be brought up.
2011. Crystal Dunn looking for a decision, and ask and you shall receive.
And that's a good play by Majri at this time in the game. Just slow things down. Crystal's had a good Dunn, has been able to get on the ball, start to run at players. Just slow things down, get numbers behind the ball. That was a big question for me coming into this game.
Williams is rewarded for her chasing and harrying. Debiniak couldn't quite nick it on to Dunn.
And to my point, that was a big question mark coming into this game. Was Majri, was Marjan going to be able to track these North Carolina players? Were they going to want to, given the different styles of play and the more running gun style play from North Carolina?
Well, you suspect there'll be a lot more running and gunning from them in this final half an hour. They threw everything at Manchester City the other night in the final 15 minutes. Paul Riley actually said we went with a 2-2-3-3. I don't even know if that's a formation. But it paid off for them. Now this Tuesday, ESPN2 is your home for the Leagues Cup semi-finals. Remember, that's Liga MX against MLS, 8:30 Eastern. Club America taking on Tigres from Houston. Then at 10:30 Eastern from LA, it's the Galaxy taking on Cruz Azul. Hope you can join us for the Leagues Cup semi-finals Tuesday, as we are watching the ICC final here. Glad you could be with us on this Sunday night from Carey, just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. And this place is lapping it up. Salem Stadium, 7,500 packed in here. At the home in the North Carolina Courage, seeing if they can mount a comeback against the European champions Lyon. Good interception by Ertzeg. Now then, McDonald has brought it down. All on their own for now. Jessica McDonald able to wriggle away past Renard, but Buhadi was there.
Good idea there by Jess McDonald. They put it there through Renard's legs and go around the other side. You can tell that that goal, though, on Thursday night in the semifinals gave her a little bit of confidence, what she needed in terms of making those runs in behind, getting on the ball.
Yeah, Paul Riley saying there's always one big point in any season, and he's hoping that Thursday night is the big point for that. That's a good looking ball from Dunn, but quite enough on it. Crystal Dunn trying to make amends, battling away. Marichan, the goal scorer, very cool. To Lucy Bronze. Bronze will be familiar with these parts when she 1 year at UNC a decade ago. Pretty good year as well. Tell you, Laurie, if Lucy Bronze had been born 2 miles further north, she would have been playing for Scotland and not England, because she comes from a tiny little town called Berwick, right up on the border. She was fantastic for England this summer. Now then, McDonald again! And it will be a corner. Took a flick on the way through. The Courage seemingly a rising tide at the moment.
And Jess McDonald making her presence known. Good little combination play. Again, Renard with those legs coming up big. Defensive play, but lands right in the path of Jess McDonald, and she fires that one.
Yeah, they are truly telescopic, aren't they? Renard's legs. And Baffy and Bock, the defensive partner, the same qualities as the corner comes in. Dabinia. Matthias. Great spell of possession this for North Carolina. Can they convert it to a genuine opening? Williams. Williams and Dunn together. Greenwood did enough to foil their efforts.
And credit to Lyon in this second half, coming out early on, giving North Carolina a bit of their own medicine, putting pressure on, forcing them to cough up balls. And now there's a little bit more of a defensive pressure back in their own half. Obviously, North Carolina is starting to pick up the pressure themselves and the pace. But Lyon doing a good job getting numbers behind the ball, coming up big defensively, working together as a unit.
Well, the Courage faithful would rather like Sarah Buhadi to get on with it, and she's delayed so long. The referee's patience is snatched, and a yellow card for the Lyon stopper. Midway point of the second half. Lucy Bronze for Lyon, trying to release Van der Sanden again. Once upon a time of Liverpool, Shanice Van der Sanden, so too Lucy Bronze, who connects with her again. Crystal Dunn taking it in stride. Kumagai trying to stay with her, help arriving. Dabinia was the intended target. O'Sullivan picking up the scraps. And now Hinkle. Jaylene Hinkle with room to roam. McDonald was her intended target. "1-0, it finished a year ago, but in favour of the Courage. It's 1-0 in favour of Lyon here. A sublime goal from Jennifer Marachand. The difference is Bouhaddi again. Several times tonight, Laurie, she's had to come on a voyage outside her penalty area. O'Sullivan. Here's Hinkle. Bronze was there first, though, and Kumagai settle for Lyon. You mentioned it in the first half, calm presence on Reyes. That was careless from Kumagai, but Carolina couldn't punish it.
And this is where the quote-unquote methodical play of Lyon could come into or be beneficial, close out this game. Just need to be careful, make sure they're taking care of the ball in the right places.
Greenwood shouldering off Matthias. There's Dahlkemper. She's had an excellent game tonight, hasn't she? Abby Dahlkemper and Abby Ertzeg as well alongside. Dahlkemper anticipating again, but then giving it back. McDonald. Well, North Carolina so keen to impress, so keen to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. And McDonald can help them get there. Another corner coming the way of the home team. The crowd will pump it up once more.
And another good opportunity by North Carolina. Just not enough runners in the box. Jess McDonald's picking up that ball, and it's Lynn Williams on the other side of the goal. But she's the only option. It's difficult for Crystal Dunn. It's difficult for Dabinia to get into the box. So it's easy for Lyon right now to be able to defend that and clear that out of any sort of danger. Can they get more numbers in the box, make it difficult with the runs, pick someone out?
Who can Dabinia pick out here from the corner? The two centre-backs are both forward. Although Dahlkemper retreats, and that's catching practice for Bouhaddi.
Well, they asked for more energy from the crowd, and now they're getting it with the counting.
Right. Trying to remind referee Daniel Chersky that you're supposed to get 6 seconds, but there's always a matter of leeway when it comes to that, Laurie. We know that. Very rarely see it actually applied. Paya swinging that in. Denise O'Sullivan mixing it up. She's able to hold her own against players who have the physical advantage over her, Laurie, at all times, it seems, Denise O'Sullivan.
You know, she plays bigger than she is, and she does a fantastic job of getting herself in good positions to be able to make those defensive plays. A lot of time the last resort is the physicality of it. If you can get yourself in good positions and steal the ball or at least toe poke it away, and that's what she does so well in that holding midfield position.
North Carolina pressure is continuing and mounting. Play almost entirely locked into the Lyon half at the moment. But there is going to be another hydration break. And, well, a break at this time proved to be just what the doctor ordered on Thursday night. That was weather-related with a thunderstorm rattling through. They got a 70-minute break in the semi-final Thursday. This one will only be 3, Laurie, but what do you imagine Paul Riley is saying to his team right now?
So keep up the pace, keep up the pace. Be more patient in that final third, though. If you can spring and you can get a good opportunity, do so. But if not, tons of room out wide. Can you spring Mare Mathias? Can you get Jaylene Hinkle and pick out good crosses? That's what's missing, is that final ball. At the same time, we're starting to see Lyon drop back into a more defensive posture. Not a ton of pace to be able to spring someone over top in terms of transition. So North Carolina's got to go for it in terms of the pressure they're going to employ.
This was the goal that separates the two teams. I tell you, a goal fit to win any final. If that indeed proves to be the game winner, North Carolina will hope there's a different final chapter, of course, but what a strike it was from Marchand.
What a brilliant strike that was. And again, it just floats around, holds up her run perfectly, is able to make perfect contact and just bend that pass. And unfortunately, Lyon has no ability to make that save.
She was the captain of the Germany team that won the 2016 Olympics. And the World Cup disrupted by a broken toe. Marchand looking to get off on the right foot at the start of the 2019 campaign. We are ready for action again. It's the final 15 minutes. It's where North Carolina have traditionally done their finest work. We saw more evidence of that on Thursday. They'll be hoping that Lightning can indeed strike twice. Interestingly, Paul Riley has still only made the one change so far. Well, Jessica McDonald must be pondering others with 6 available. It's McDonald's long throw. Still up for grabs. Renard. She had to hook it clear in emergency fashion. Of course, as they press further up the field, the danger lurks, doesn't it, Laurie, for the Lyon counter-attack. Marchand. Greenwood. And here's O'Sullivan and Hinkle. McDonald wanted it, long crossfield ball, ambitious, and easily cut out in the end. On Thursday night, our coverage of MLS will resume. It's the start of a busy rivalry weekend. We'll have a total of 4 games for you. The first of them Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern. Sporting Kansas City taking on Minnesota United from Children's Mercy Park. Hope you can join us for that over on ESPN. As Jessica McDonald goes to the byline, it'll be yet another corner. That corner kick count is rising.
Well done by Greenwood, just goes to the ground, ensures that that ball doesn't make it across. And again, Jess McDonald pushing the pace.
It's Abby Dahlkemper who takes this, interestingly. Oh, it's a header for McDonald. Tough for her to really generate any venom off that header, backpedaling as she was. This big crowd here in Kerry going to get what they came for. Official attendance just been announced, 8,208 here. Terrific stuff again as the World Cup afterglow rolls on. This is Enda Shandon with the cross that fizzed along the face of the penalty area. Back in again it comes. Cole losing the duel with Marichan.
And Lyon doing a good job of committing numbers, making sure that they have numbers back. Because right now, if North Carolina tries to spring a counterattack, they're so narrow with their positioning. They really only have Jess McDonald or Lynn Williams. And there's no one out wide. It doesn't allow for Mary Mathias or Jalen Hinkle to be able to get up the field. It's pretty predictable.
Paul Riley is on the verge of making another switch. And we're going to see another one of the heroes from Thursday night perhaps come on with Mackenzie Meehan. I can tell you, under your picture, but down below us, getting ready for action. Merritt Mathias. Oh, Buhadi has not put a foot or a hand wrong tonight, has she? Really been in command of her area. Irking the crowd, perhaps, with taking a little longer than they would have liked. Getting rid of it. Mbok, cross to Henri. The courage, despite finding the waters a little choppier this season, the NWSL are still unbeaten at home. 4 wins and 4 draws in the 8 games here. A team that only lost once all of last year, unbeaten at home as well. The crowd aren't used to seeing their team on the wrong end of the scoreline here. Another home game to come against the Rain in WSL next weekend. That's a big one.
And either way this game plays out for North Carolina, it really does set them up for success in terms of that big win in the semifinal on Thursday, and then a really quality game so far in this final today. And when you talk about bringing players in, getting them more into rhythm, bringing Abby Dahlkemper back in, getting her minutes, Jess McDonald as well, you're starting to see players elevate, and that's exactly what you want in terms of this latter part of the NWSL season.
Mewis trying to build a platform. Debinius control just eluding her. Dabinia, who played in Norway and in China before coming to the NWSL. Crystal Dunn looking for McDonald. Jess McDonald. Good looking cross. Dabinia trying to pick up the pieces. Dabinia! Forcing a decent save out of Buhadi.
For one of the best looks for North Carolina in this second. Again, making that run in behind. Good ball initially for Lynn Williams, but Dabinia making that far post run.
I'm asking her what you want.
Oh, the clock continuing to tick. Still Mackenzie Meehan standing by. She is ready for action, but she needs a stoppage to get in. Going to be interesting to see what Paul Riley does in terms of shuffling the deck to get Meehan on. There's a stoppage now, but not the sort that North Carolina were looking for. Free kick conceded. Lyon hasn't exactly been able to venture forward much in the last 20 minutes or so, but Madry has won this free kick. And that will afford a chance to make the switch. Here she is, Mackenzie Meehan, the pride of Gloucester, Rhode Island, who scored her first professional goal late on in that semi-final against Manchester City. Only arrived here in North Carolina via a trade with Sky Blue back in early June. I've always wanted to say the pride of Gloucester, Rhode Island. Laurie, I used to drive through Gloucester, Rhode Island regularly. Gloucester and Foster. But she had a dream night on Thursday, didn't she? They need something similar. Foraging work from Madry was really effective. She is still full of running. Madry. Now Hegerberg. Is that a quiet night? But that was clever! Offside. Lucy Bronze has the ball in the back of the net, but it's all for nothing. Hegerberg's back heel.
Well, Madry sets that one up, and then Hegerberg, again, you mentioned it, she has been quiet, but we know what she can do, and that was a nifty little back heel, and fortunately for North Carolina, just pulled offside. Well done by them to make sure they keep a tight line.
Madry. She's had an excellent game, hasn't she, Amel Madry? One of so many players who've kept the continuity going for Lyon over the years. She's been there close to a decade. Paul Riley wondering what his team have up their sleeves this time.
And to your point about Madry, I think she's been fantastic up top. The best player, actually, floating in and out, keeping good possession, making runs in behind, picking balls up, and then also working tireless defensively, getting back when necessary, helping out in numbers. And this is good by Lyon right now, just slowly ticking the clock away, keeping possession when they need to, breaking that pressure by North Carolina. Not forcing anything. We saw a second ago on that free kick, not forcing to play it in to the numbers of North Carolina, just keeping possession.
Mackenzie Meehan getting her first touch. Now O'Sullivan. Promise here. Hinkle looking down the line, coming inside instead. McDonald is lurking. It was the crowd appealing for handball rather than any of the players who had a better view. It was coolly done, wasn't it, from Greenwood? Tracked the run.
Well, good positioning there by Greenwood, because that's all that she could do, is make sure it doesn't go off her hand, and then also being able to play it back to Buhati.
Here's Meehan. More changes forthcoming for Paul Riley. He's going to throw everything at this. Heather O'Reilly is going to get an opportunity, or is she?
Vanderson came in for Paris, so maybe it might be that might, if she gets into the box. Yep.
Back from Herzig. Labe. They need it forward, and they need it there in a hurry. Matthias, Mewis. They would love nothing more here, the Courage crowd. For the grandstand finale, it's Williams who was the target. Renard just wins everything, doesn't she? Hegerberg, who was the recipient of the first Ballon d'Or Féminine. She won that in December. She wins a free kick here after that lunge from Dahlkemper.
Yeah, tough tackle there. But at the same time, again, well done by Lyon. Just patience on the ball, not forcing anything. As soon as they win it over a turnover from North Carolina, finding the nearest person, making sure they link.
3 more changes to come for North Carolina. It's Heather O'Reilly who's come on. She played a big part in that semi-final recovery on Thursday night. McCall Zerboni is also into the action, as is Kari Recaro.
The 87th minute of play, number 13, Abby Dahlkemper.
We are in the final seconds of the 90 minutes. Should be a significant amount of stoppage time added on for the hydration break alone.
And Adrian, this is when we've seen North Carolina at their best. We saw Jess McDonald in the semifinal on Thursday, but we see they can push the pace.
5 minutes is what the Courage have been given.
They can push the pace, and they also have the ability to find the back of the net. I mean, they're used to this type of pressure, lumping balls forward, getting players into the box.
Hinkle. Inside from Meehan. Everyone forward here except LaBay. Heather O'Reilly. Crystal Dunn on the run. Good looking cross too. And a big leap to win the header. Recaro and O'Reilly snapping in to win it back. Heather O'Reilly came all the way in to the right-hand touchline. He knows time is short. That'll be our last season of professional soccer. What a career it's been, 17 years at the elite level. Dahlkemper. Lyon resistance still maintained. O'Reilly. Dahlkemper trying to play it back to her. Free kick coming the Courage's way. A chance to send all the artillery forward.
Yeah, get players in the box. Make sure you're pouncing on the second balls.
Dahlkemper, right sort of service. Williams went up to meet it. Lyon able to clear their lines. Recaro only had one option. Well, Paul Riley knows his opponents tonight have won everything in the game, and they're on the verge of winning a new competition for the first time. Lyon went down to defeat a year ago in Miami, on the verge of prevailing by the same scoreline, unless the Courage can do something fast.
And Lyon really have shown some maturity and quality in this this second half after going up 1-0. Just getting numbers behind the ball, tactically making some changes, bringing Kumagai in, shoring things up in the midfield.
McDonald's played it wide. Hinkle needs a good service. Oh, McDonald was lurking, and they're going to get a free kick. A late challenge on Hinkle after she played that cross in from Van der Sanden. So the drama is going to go right to the final whistle here. As the Courage will have a last chance. Jaylene Hinkle, who's been so active up and down that left-hand side all night.
Did a good job of getting herself in here. It's a good look. There's Van der Sanden coming in with cleats up. Late challenge on Jaylene Hinkle, but still gets, to her credit, still gets a quality ball off.
It's now or never for Carolina. The free kick, oh, it was whipped in towards that near post by Heather O'Reilly. It chases on for Dahlkemper. Can she get there? She can. Drills in the cross. Just cannot crack this Lyon defense, which has been resolute. 5 minutes have been played. LeBay thumping it forward, up go the heads! And Buhadi has it, and Lyon, I think, have their hands on the prize. There it is, final whistle. Lyon have turned the tables on the Courage. Brief final thoughts, Laurie.
Well, fantastic game overall. That second half, Lyon come out, implement a good game plan, start to put North Carolina under pressure more so than they did in that first half, and then able to get that beautiful goal.
It has been a real pleasure. Thanks for the pleasure of your company, Laurie, and for being with us. Lyon, the ICC champions.